I realized that you can give people all the same practical advice, but not everybody will get the same outcomes or implement it in the same ways.
Today I'm talking with Vicky Shilling, business coach for health and wellness solopreneurs, who noticed early in her career that two people could follow the exact same strategy and get completely different results, and realized the difference was never the tactic, it was the belief underneath it. I'm curious, I guess, first, what your business is like and who you're working with, and maybe we base it more off what you're seeing for clients since
Yeah.
you're a coach. But
Yeah,
tell me a little
either.
bit about
Yeah.
you first.
Yeah, I used to work in the music industry and then I trained as a coach after I moved here for an Irishman that refused to leave Ireland. So I left the UK, came over here and trained as a coach. I just loved helping people with a lot of the practical, like advice, kind of marketing advice, social media, email list building, marketing without social media, all of that kind of stuff, particularly people getting started largely in health and wellness businesses. So health coaches, nutritional therapists, that kind of thing. And a lot's changed, like a lot kind of progressed from that, where I realized that you can give people all the same practical advice, but not everybody will get the same outcomes or implement it in the same ways. And actually, that's where I became really interested in the kind of mindset stuff that you'll see on my website now, this more idea of self-belief and self-trust, where we get in our own way. I don't like to call it self-sabotage, but, self-protection, where we get into these loops and things. And that for me now is like real juicy work where, especially in the world of AI, we've got lots of practical tips and guides and things that can help us. Why aren't we doing it or getting the results that we want from it, and what's going on in here? So that's been the kind of progression for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that makes a little bit more sense, like how we got connected, because we also work with people in the health and wellness space. So we have that overlap. And I thought that was maybe true. And seeing a lot of the same things. And we work more with the money side of it, obviously the numbers, and that's really what we're talking about. But see the same thing as far as like people not implementing, or they implement and they have amazing success. And then all of a sudden they like totally fall out of it. And you're like, well, what just
Or just
happened?
don't trust themselves with money, or like have stories about money, or boom and bust. I find it fascinating. That's why I like to focus on that with clients, because I think they can get lots of strategic advice from other people, but it's the bit that often unlocks it once you get all the practical bits in place.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Well, what would
Great.
you say are the biggest financial challenges that you're seeing in running health and wellness practices right now?
Biggest challenges. We've separated out the kind of practical versus the belief system stuff. There's naturally a lot of the practical things. I've been coaching people since kind of 2019, 2020. And I think a lot of us will acknowledge and accept that during COVID and that kind of period of 2, 3 years around there was a lot of emphasis on social media, online, obviously, because that was all we had, building audiences, growing followings through that. And I feel like that it has changed a lot, that a lot of the challenge now is realizing that I found my clients were just getting burned out by that. They actually were not, as health and wellness practitioners, recommending being on social media and being glued to your phone all the time, and yet felt it was a conflict when people were saying that's how to market your business and that's how to get clients and customers, and they just felt this kind of rub on it. So I mostly work with people that are a bit jaded by it, a bit burned out, that have done the kind of online launches and pumping content out on social media and just feel a bit exhausted from that. And I think the other side, the trust piece, which is really interesting for me, is that on the flip side, I think audiences have become a lot more skeptical, a lot more questioning, a lot more reticent to engage online or trust someone straight away because they've got a great sales page. Like, we're starting to see through that, which is good in a way, because we want good practitioners to be trusted and for people not to just buy the first thing that promises them the earth. However, again, when we come into the belief stuff, I find sometimes that can really erode people's belief that what they're doing is good, is right. It can take time and consistency, and that's where the stories creep in. So that's where I see the struggle then is it working? It used to be like this and now I can't get anyone. What's changed? Is it good enough? Those kind of stories, and that can turn into a spiral quite quickly. So those kind of the practical that then simmers into the belief system stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I'm also just thinking of our clients who want to see, like, they know it's not going to happen overnight, but they still feel like there's a should, that it should happen overnight. They know that's not the case, but that's not how their body's reacting, right? And they want results, and that's hard to talk them off the ledge.
Well, we certainly see examples of that, and social media can make it look like that just happens overnight for people, which Again, that's usually not the bigger picture actually. But then we're kind of trained in that instant gratification stuff. Oh, I post something, I immediately get a response. And we think that everything in the business, that's the way the world's going. We want something, we hop on Amazon, we buy it straight away. This kind of these hits of dopamine that we get. Long-term sustainable business isn't really like that, which is why that mindset work of valuing and finding pride and joy in doing the work, regardless of what happens on the other side. Of course, it has to earn money. Of course, we're not here just to have fun and post to social media or turn up at networking events and not make money. But actually coming back to, I don't need the validation of someone immediately buying or immediately engaging or immediately telling me I'm great, that actually I know I'm brilliant, I'm worthy, what I'm saying is valuable. And that is going to turn into sustainable customers over time. That is where we need to change the stories, I think.
Yeah, that self-trust piece that you talked about earlier, so important for sure. So cool. What about emerging trends that you're seeing in the health and wellness industry, and how do you feel they're having the most significant impact on your clients' businesses?
I think when we think again about this idea of real emergence now post-COVID, there is definitely more connections offline, like in person, that I think are happening and people are craving and wanting that real human connection. So I'm definitely seeing more trends and things going brilliantly well for some of the practitioners I've seen in my space in terms of running retreats and running in-person events, whether that's women's circles or nutrition programs or things where actually people are gathered physically in a space. I think, especially with the rise of AI and things, that's where people are really craving that human connection. And that's really good to see. I appreciate that doesn't work and it doesn't fit for every practitioner, but I think that's a really nice and positive trend. And again, that shift away from like reliance on social media necessarily, like being able to think about doing things, networking and in person, running talks and bits like that, I do think is a really positive trend. I think the more negative trends that we're seeing are things like the polarization of people's opinions on things, that the way that certainly social media works is you get the engagement, we have to say something quite controversial or that is going to get people engaging with what we're saying. And that I think has quite a detrimental effect sometimes, because I know from the experts that I work with, the health and wellness professionals, there's always grey areas, there's always nuance. We can't summarize it in a quick, snappy 30-second video reel or TikTok or whatever it is. There's a deeper conversation to be had there. And I know that can really feel very frustrating for a lot of practitioners, that it feels like the only way, quote unquote, to be seen and to have an impact is to end up sucked into that kind of dialogue. And just again, how that can erode your trust and your confidence that, Ozempic and skinny talk and all of these things and all these poor health practitioners that have been preaching for so long, healthy relationships with food and understanding your body and listening to your cycle and whatever else, it just feels like it gets railroaded by a quick, easy answers and that kind of thing. So again, the trust piece will keep coming back for me, that idea that you're needed, you're valued, someone is listening, someone needs to hear this today, someone needs your service, someone is willing to pay good money. They've woken up this morning and are craving what you are offering as an alternative to a lot of what they're seeing, that kind of loud noise. That's what the people I really want to champion in this, so that they're not really feeling, oh gosh, there's no place for me anymore in a world that seems to have just gone for back to quick fixes.
Well, and I think too, like what you said earlier about it's exhausting to be on social media, and the people we work with are coaching their people not to be on social media. And so it just makes sense not for them to be there, to take their own medicine and set the example of what they're teaching their people to do, and not buy into the polarization and the bold claims, but don't really.
Yeah. And I think what's nice to see as a trend is there is that craving maybe for things like Substack or long form or going back to blogging, more in detail things, podcasts. Some of my clients sent me a 2-hour long podcast. And I said, gosh, like I do very short podcast episodes personally. And I think that's so interesting. But again, that depth, that idea of there are people out there that want the nuance. Yes, of course, there's always going to be people that just want the quick fix or are happy scrolling on TikTok for 3 hours a day. But others of us actually are wanting and craving and coming back to in-depth analysis and long form, which again is a great trend. I really enjoy that. And I enjoy when I find a writer or creator or a professional who I really trust hearing what they say in those forms.
Yeah. For sure. And it just builds that relationship, right? You get to know somebody in a 3-minute video versus a 30-second video. And 3 minutes isn't even long form, 30-minute podcast. For sure. Cool.
Yeah, good.
So as you look to the future and you talk with your clients, what are you hearing as their goals for growth and development in the next 3 to 5
I
years?
think I had a conversation with a client about this yesterday, actually. This idea of sustainability, I think, really in lots of different walks of life. I think we've come through that kind of real pop of I can work for myself, I can make lots of money, I can launch a group program, or I can launch my practice and fill it and make 100 grand or whatever the kind of online business gurus have told you. And I feel like we're coming back to we want this as well. We teach our clients about sustainable and small habits and things. And actually, that's what most people will be craving and coming to me. They're not looking to put their name over a door. They don't want to go viral, actually. They don't
Yeah.
want. They would love to find a way, maybe to using social media, maybe not, to have a lovely flow and be fully booked and booked ahead and run things, feel like they're making an impact and have a great lifestyle business that funds wonderful holidays, time with their family, doing up their house, whatever brings them joy and doesn't need to be flashy and shiny and whatever figure we're being told is what we should all be aspiring for. So it's that real craving again for that sustainable ease that comes with it without this. Of course, we need to work hard, but without this kind of burnout that again, often I find a lot of wellness practitioners have come out of corporate because they were burned out, because they experienced health issues themselves and they don't want to go back there. And so that local belief system I help them with as well, like getting fully booked doesn't mean you'll get burned out. You get to build your own business. You get to do this yourself and create your own version of success now.
And having that harmony of like, your life can exist while you have a business and your life includes your business. Your business does not have to consume your life and that whole hustle culture thing. I mean, I've been in business for a long time. It's never been the way I've run my business. And I've always kind of pushed back against the people that preached that. But clients get sucked into that and they think it's the only way when that's the big successful people supposedly. Because those of us who have that harmony and are looking for that ease, we're not flashy about it.
So, and we're not selling everyone else's look how much they made or screenshots of Stripe or whatever it is that those people potentially will be using as tactics to make people go, oh gosh, well, my bank account's a bit empty right now. I'd love a piece of that. And actually, that's not the answer. These kind of more sustainable practices. And again, that trust piece of, say, with healthy eating or good relationships with food or whatever it is, it's the small little pieces and habits you put in place that will get you that ease.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of the same philosophies we do as far as the habits, which I find so fun with health and wellness experts because they get it, right? We do it with money. You do it with your mindset and your thinking. And it's like people already are doing that with food and exercise. They know it. All we have to do is like, that also applies to how you think and your money. And once that switch flips, it's like the light bulb come on and it does become easy to coach them on how to make the changes that they want because they really do already have the thought process.
That's it. They teach other people. And that idea that we can't hate our body into changing, that we can't be angry at it, and that's not sustainable. The same in business. We can't keep beating ourselves up, working ourselves harder, flogging, should have done more, could have done. Like, that isn't what you'd tell a client to do if they were struggling with getting their eating habits on track or trying to overcome a particular symptom that they're struggling with. You tell them to have some compassion and to make changes that all add up. Like you say, it's exactly the same here.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. I'll just open this up then too. Is there anything else that has come up for you that you're like, oh, I want to be sure to mention anything?
Well, I think it's sort of come up a bit, just this idea that for me, it's all around those beliefs that go behind some of these things, some of the ways that we behave, some of the things like we were talking about with money or how we show up visibly, to actually just always be curious about what is it we believe about ourselves? What do we believe about the market that we're in? What do we believe people are willing to pay or invest in? What do we believe about the impact that we can have? And being curious about those things alongside practical things like, am I managing my money properly and am I pricing myself correctly? Those things. But to just be, again, curious and compassionate alongside it, because we all carry a lot of stories and beliefs. And I talk about it in terms of having an inner protector, a kind of a part of you that is trying to keep you safe. And perhaps it's experienced and seen things in your past, maybe a previous job, maybe a previous or current relationship, childhood, of course, where we've seen how money was handled or how visibility looked or how being authentic was received. And we have to separate, like in our business. Oh, isn't that interesting? I had one client who said, gosh, when I think about my fear of visibility, it makes me remember when I was in a school play and I was asked to be the narrator. And no, the one child didn't want to sing, so I was pushed forward to sing this song and everyone laughed at me. I was like, gosh, well, no wonder, there's these kind of hang-ups now about being visible. And then the ripple effect that happens about that. Then when you're not visible, you don't want to be seen, you're afraid, rejection and embarrassment and failure. Being really honest and kind about like, why have I got this story and how can we rewire this? How would I like to be thinking? What would I like to be feeling instead? I'm not saying it negates or changes a reality, an actual situation that you're in. But my goodness, it's a nicer place to be in your head if you can be curious and kind to yourself and think about, how can I just shake off that story and that belief that I've got around whatever it is, money, visibility, authenticity, annoying people. I find that as well. I don't want to annoy people. I don't want to mesh them too much. It's just fascinating. Just be curious about those things.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. I usually ask business owners at this point, like our clients, if there are any particular business strategies or mentorship opportunities that they are currently exploring or interested in, but I'll flip it for you. Anything that you are excited about what you're offering for clients right now?
Yeah. Well, in terms of free things, I have my Substack, which is called The Business of Self-Trust. And that is a podcast version as well. Very short episodes compared to the ones we were talking about earlier. And then I do something which I call a business mirror audit, where I have a quick chat with a client and then I review their online presence, maybe their emails, maybe leaflets or posters they posted. I also get them to do an archetype test to look at how maybe their self-doubt might be showing up in their business and really hold up that mirror and reflect back to them where I think, not on a practical level they can make changes, but on a little mindset and story shift, they might be able to make some tweaks and trust themselves more, believe in themselves more, put themselves out there more in a way that feels safe and honors what's going on in their head. So yeah, that's something I find really fun and really enjoyable to do with clients at the moment.
It's amazing. Is that on your website, like the business mirror audit?
Yeah.
I love that. That's really what people need, right? A mirror to see
what's going on here, what's going on under the lid. Yeah.
Cool. Well, this was super fun for me, Vicky. I hope it was fun for you. I got a lot out of it. It's fun to know that other people in the world are seeing the same things that we are and kind of working at the same. I mean, I know you've seen this when you tell a client the same thing over and over and over, and then all of a sudden somebody else comes in and says the same thing. And you're like, I know we've been talking about that for months, but I'm glad you finally get it. I don't care. However, it's done it with your 5-year-old too. I mean, it happens at school with teachers. So it's super fun. Not that I need the validation, but it's fun to have the validation that we're all doing the same work.
Well, good. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Awesome. Thank you again so much, Vicky. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Speak to you soon.
Thanks. Thanks for listening to Behind the Numbers. If today's conversation resonated with you, subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss a new episode every week. And if you're a health or wellness business owner who's ever wondered what's really going on behind your own numbers, I'd love to talk. Head to fitforprofit.com to learn more or book a complimentary clarity call. We'll see you next week.